pretty quickly.
Yeah. Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Ken and Joy at Tortoise Capital, and it is July 29th, 2025. It is 115 degrees in Kansas with the heat index. The temperature's only 103, but it is kind of uh, humid outside, so it feels like 115. Some people would say, yeah, it's kind of a dry heat. No, you mean it's a dry heat like a fire, like an open flame? Yeah, that's what it feels like. So we're proceeding on through the eight imbalances of the traders. A quick review. We've done um, perfectionism, distraction, uh, the paired imbalances of impulsivity and um, uh, what was the other one? Responsiveness? No, impulsivity and trying to remember.
And rigidity.
Rigidity. That's right. That's right. That's what it was. And then last week we did overreaching and hesitation.
And hesitation.
And so it made sense that those were like pairs. But the next two we're going to do to round out the eight tonight is revenge, which is sort of a evil, angry emotion, unworthy, but real. And then next one after this would be loneliness, isolation, and loneliness. And it didn't seem correct to pair those. Like each one of them is an extreme that is its own thing, a giant magnetic black hole pulls you in. It's not a rejection of one thing for the other. No, it's really just a kind of a mad rush towards it. And so we wanted to really just explore that single pole of magnetism that can draw us in if we're not mindful. Uh, so yeah, everything's good here. Good hard week at work. Had a good soccer match this morning. I'm continuing to work on my trader's second brain. I added this weekend about another 50 million words of uh, expert testimony and research on various trader subjects to fill in the gaps and make sure that our view of the world is comprehensive. And I'm starting to get pretty good at that. So this is a good one to help me get out of my head and more towards my heart and soul on revenge. So all is well here, and looking forward to tonight's session with a little trepidation as I get ready to visit a part of me that I don't really like that much. I but I have to admit I enjoy it more than I should, which is part of the reason I it needs to be addressed, if I'm being honest. So over to you, Miss Joy, and let's go.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ken. So thank you for being with me and trusting me yet another week as we look into some of these imbalances that everyone has more or less, but these have been identified as good things to work on for you and the trader community in general. I wanted to make sure that we brush off the day. I'm glad to hear you had a good day at work and you had a good day on the soccer field. But even with a good day, it's time to get into a different mindset that we're not thinking about work. We're not even thinking about our play right now with the kids playing soccer. We're just going to go within, find honesty, find sincerity, make sure that we know how to open up. And throughout these sessions, I have been very grateful that you are able to open up and that you're able to discuss some of these serious imbalances. I thought we'd do something tonight to just get into a little bit different of a mindset. And I'm going to have the sunbeam in my face a little bit longer. I can't help it. It's I even have a shade on that window, but it's like bamboo slats. So, it's still going to come through. And I think you can follow along with the words. It would be something that you would watch, but we're going to do some lymph drainage. Have you ever had a lymph massage?
Yeah, like the lymph nodes and
Yeah,
moving the fluids around. Yeah.
yeah. All right, well, let's do some simple lymph massage. And I think we'll start in the middle of our forehead, but at the center where our eyebrows meet,
Mhm.
and just do a gentle pinch. We're going to do that. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. We're going to go to the center of the eyebrow. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. And at the end of the eyebrow, sometimes that's hard to pinch. We're going to pinch it a little bit. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. And then rub the eyebrows as though we're moving the lymph down the sides of the face. Just about 3 gentle movements. And then we're going to pick it back up on the cheekbones, the apple of the cheek, and do a little more pinching. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, and 5, 1,000. And then we're going to do our rub it out, where we're just going to move it down as though we were moving this down to the chin. And at the chin line, we can do another pinch. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. And now we're going to open up our hands and put our thumbs behind our ear and lay our hands on the temple down the cheek. So we're holding firmly behind the ears with the thumbs, and the fingertips are pretty much on the temple. We're going to hold that. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, and then drag it back down to the chin, again, as though we were draining this. And now we can drain it down the neck. And drain it off our shoulders. Just drain it off the shoulders. Just push it off. Now, a full body massage at a massage spa would go on throughout the rest of the body, but it is fine to have removed this from the face, from the facial muscles, and then reduce it off our shoulders. Now what we can do is make a fist, and it's called the thyroid thump. So it is where the collarbones meet, but a little to the left. And so we're just going to thump that a few times, the thyroid thump. And then back in this area, we're going to find where the collarbones not meet, but almost come together at the bottom of our neck. We're going to come down about 2 inches. You really can't see because of my lighting. And that's called the K27s. So we're going to massage the K27s. Let's do that for 5 seconds as well. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000. And again, we can just push any unwanted energy, just push that right off. And just as though we're putting that which we do not need out into the ocean. And we can visualize a drop of ink into the ocean, which would quickly disperse. It would disperse out into the ocean. or the atmosphere, whatever you choose. Well, I feel different. I feel different already. Um, what I'd like to remind you, I guess we could call this homework. We don't need to do this together, but I've been doing this a lot in the last week or two, and that's humming. And my random humming ends up being a song, but I don't start out with, I think I'll hum this song. So I'd like to remind you how good humming is for you. And if you'll notice, a lot of times when I take a deep breath in, I come out with a sigh or a hum or a noise. But just humming alone is so good for us. And often when you hum, you'll find that your face vibrates and your lips will vibrate. And like I said, I end up humming a song, the same one over and over and over again. Now you could create your own song, but I do start out with just random humming because for it to really feel good, it's not just a quick hum, it takes a few minutes to feel that resonance of the lips vibrating, the face, and you can do facial motions with your humming. Like if you learned A, E, I, O, U to really exercise your mouth, yeah, A, E, I, O, U, then exercising the facial muscles all together and then humming is another way to use that as a coping tool or a stress management tool. Well, let's do a little bit of breathing. And then we'll get started talking about serious things. But for now, I'm going to ask you to visualize. It's going to be a square. And I like to start on the bottom left. And I don't think we did this already, but you can do it by moving your head. So at the bottom left, you're going to count to 4, but create the leftmost bar of the box. Yeah, it's called box breathing. So we're going to go up to the count of 4 from the bottom left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then hold across the top to the count of 4. And then out, 2, 3, 4. And then hold again. 2, 3, 4. So let's do a couple of rounds of those. I don't really need to count us out because you can do it at your own pace. And as soon as you find a rhythm, slow it down. Do it even slower. So I'm going to start with the leftmost corner. And across the top is hold. And down. And across the bottom. 2. 3. 4. 5. Let's do a few more at your own pace. But remember, it's good to just slow it down. Hold. And one more. Mm. And that exercise is meant to be done 3 to 5 minutes at the very least. We don't have to go through another, 4 minutes of it. But box breathing is good for you. It's good for the concentration of creating the box without hesitation. What make and I like to make a gold lined box. So the first line is a gold bar, and the line across the top is a gold bar, and the line down the side is a gold bar, and then the hold at the bottom is a gold bar. But when people first start out, sometimes it's awkward to stay on the box to continue to do the box. And practice, actually, it really feels good to just calm yourself and be in a mindset that isn't thinking about anything but your breathing. Mm. 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 Another thing that's good for us, we don't have to do this right here, right now, but I'm reminding you, and you can let me know if you practiced your humming next week. But there is a thing called laughter yoga, and laughter really is contagious. And I have a favorite comedian. I don't know if I should say this, but on YouTube, his name is Josh Johnson, and he makes me laugh. And actually, there's a lot of good comedians on YouTube, but finding something that you get a real chuckle out of and then letting it be contagious. So it might be something that you want to do when you have some alone time. Just do some laughing or practice it with your kids or your significant other, spouse, or something like that. And then just see if it is contagious in your family. Hmm. So another stress release that is similar to box breathing is to we'll just say focus on the navel. And I'm going to use my gold bar again. Well, it won't be a bar, my gold light, and create the infinity symbol. So I'm taking from the navel up and around and meeting back in the center and then around the other side. And the visualization, again, you can use any symbol that you choose. You can move your head. Sometimes I sway my whole body because it really feels good to do the infinity symbol. And without jerky motions. My body, my mind, and my nature is already in tune with making infinity symbols. Like I said, a lot of times I just sway my whole body. But when I first started this, even making the infinity symbol had some jerky motions. It wasn't smooth. And if you want to make a few of those motions now, you're just going to meet back in the center and come back on an 8 lying sideways. You know what the infinity symbol is. Lying sideways. Lying sideways, I guess that would be. Few more infinity symbols. And when you practice these things alone, you may want to just slow it down and see how carefully you can draw. Again, it could be a purple line in your mind, but I'm drawing mine about solar plexus level. I'm not drawing mine at my eyes. I'm drawing it low where the solar plexus comes together at the navel. Hmm. Hmm. And I do like that feeling. I do like that feeling. Now, I don't know if you remember or if you ever had to teach anyone to read, but when you're teaching children to read, one of the best exercises for teaching children to read is roller skating. Now, why roller skating? Because you are practicing a skill of learning the letters and the words, and also the skill of reading comprehension and reading, understanding what you're reading. So some of the techniques that they talked about, maybe even before my day, children learning in such a primary way of simple sentences. See the cat, see the dog. And now children are reading, see the cat jump over the moon, and, very complex things because they have that capacity. And when my son was young, I remember them talking about always using roller skating because your body creates an X. So right here, right now, depends on how much room you have in front of your desk to your computer monitor, but I'm going to be as though I was roller skating and do some cross brain functionality here with a whole brain holistic learning style being asked to come forth. And roller skating and making this X with our hands and our arms. Hmm. 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 Yeah, I'm going to do a few spontaneous stretches here. I see you're just making your own movements, but yeah, just stretching it out. Hmm. Hmm. When I do my writing workshops, part of it is stretching it out. So I'm going to stretch from upper left, lower right, and then the other arm left and right. So we can get a good stretch in. Well, like I said, I feel pretty good. I got a million of them. I think we could round out with those so we can save some for later. We have used in all of these weeks, we have used techniques. I'm a certified healing touch practitioner, and I got certified at a local hospital in the 90s. And we have learned other techniques. And some of these are from energy medicine. What's her name? Donna Eden. Donna Eden's energy medicine. So we're just using techniques from a lot of the various things I have picked up that have worked along the way. And like I said, I have a few we can save for next time. Huh. All right. Well, we're stretched out. We're feeling pretty good. Okay. So revenge has been defined as ego, getting even, and anger, and not being a trait that we want to foster more of. It may be something that will occur some things are not meant to be eliminated, depending on how they show up in our life, but learning the coping skills or learning our reaction to how we're going to face things when a situation of revenge comes up is part of the maturity of having stress management sessions, just like this, coaching sessions to observe and evaluate our thoughts and feelings and therefore our actions. So, would it be all right today with you, Ken, if we go deeply into revenge?
Let's go all the way into that.
All right. Well, I defined it in just a few words, but how do you define revenge?
I want to just extend on those words. I thought that was a great start, the entrance of that cave, but it's just a dark, hot, evil, menacing, exciting, energized, full of memory, can't let go. It's grim, it's gritty, it's gripping me. I grip it. It's hot to the touch. It's brows are furrowed, shaking with anger, remembering that past. Can't let go of that. Got to somehow get even. Got to get back, make them suffer the way I suffered. I'll show them who's the boss. Uh, Unhealthy enjoyment from that, getting to be right, being in charge. I'll show them they've got to suffer for what they've done. Wasn't me. I was innocent and pure, for sure. And even when I accept that I wasn't, I still can't get over that I want this more than I want to be correct, just to feel the satisfaction of getting even, um, showing power, yeah,
Showing
working
power.
it all out. Yeah, those are the things that are swirling around.
Well, have you identified anything that is good from revenge? Is there anything that helps you learn a lesson?
Well, I mean, sometimes it works. It's a source of energy, comes at a cost, but it does promote action, and you have to take action in the world a lot of times to make a difference. And so sometimes the energy of that revenge initiates things, and it sometimes will work out in your favor. And then you think, aha, that's the reward for getting revenge, was an immediate payoff. There's actually payoffs that say, yeah, well, maybe it was worth it. Uh, it almost always comes at an extra cost. It leaves a stain and a scar, a reminder of what you did and why you did it. And even when the emotion of all that leaves and it doesn't matter anymore, it leaves a mark. That's a reminder of, yeah, there I was at that moment. That's what I did. That's who I was. Like it or don't like it, it was a fact. And if you go there once, you could find yourself going there again. So you better pay attention to what it was that pushed you in that direction, allowed you to be pushed in that direction, why you chose to allow that, and the other choices that you could have made at each and any of those points, all the different ways that it might have worked out differently that weren't explored because you were so sure that what you had to have was revenge. That was more important than any of the other things that could be more satisfying. That you chose that path. Why'd you do that? What was the real Uh, what was the payoff? What was the goodness of doing that and getting even, making them suffer, taking them down a notch? Is that your job? Why is that on your mind? Why was that more important than other things that you didn't even notice because you were so caught up in staring intently and focused at that thing? What did you miss because of that? So, yeah, those are the places I end up going as I
Mm.
revisit that, looking at that through like encased in amber and see that
Ah,
timeless moment. Just like I can just kind of dispassionately look at that, say, oh, that's an artifact of who I was at that time. I can set that aside
ah,
and let that go. It's an
well, that's
artifact. It
very,
happened, but it doesn't have to. I don't have to keep that in my backpack. I can put it on the shelf or in a lockbox and just say, "Yep, put that in
mm,
the Museum of Ancient History."
mm.
That long ago
As
time.
usual, you're one question ahead of me.
Oh,
So I like that. I like that fine. Um, we haven't really used the scales of justice, but we are talking about imbalances. So now I'm visualizing the scales of justice, literally scales. And so if revenge was on one side of the scale, would you be happy and grateful if your revenge was much less and your coping with revenge was much less?
yes, much better
It
if
would be
I could
much
do that.
better.
It'd be much better because I could get onto things that actually pay off and have more value and are moving towards a brighter future and leaving this distasteful episode at its completion, getting to closure on it and being done with it and set that load down,
Mhm,
stop carrying it,
mhm.
make room for other things.
Oh, that's really good. Make room for other things. Yeah. Have the other side of the scale contain so many things that it's not out of balance. The reward of less revenge and less actions toward revenge is it can't outweigh the good coping skills and the good characteristics around that. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So
Instead
what
of
do you think
spending
is
energy to
keeping?
process, instead of processing revenge, why not just let it go, turn that energy immediately to some use instead of dwelling on it. Just bundle it up and kick it out. Let it go
Mm,
find its own spot. Create room for other things.
and create room for other things. You've said that. That's very good. So we know that there are thoughts and we are responsible for our thoughts, whether we thought them up ourselves or whether they're thoughts coming into us from societal pressure or something we learned or our past lives or whatever. But your thoughts then evoke feelings. And it's one thing to say, I want to, um, I want to get even. I want to make them suffer. I'll show them. I want to have that feeling of being in charge, but you don't want to harbor those feelings. And harbor is exactly what you create. You are able to create a safe harbor, meaning the ships are all safe in the harbor. And we have the ability to think thoughts and think evil thoughts or bad thoughts or I'll get even thoughts. But we also have to protect our heart, mind, and spirit with curbing the feelings because thoughts and feelings turn into action. And there is where we don't want to take it that far. We probably we can curb the thoughts, but we can't necessarily just make them go away. And then if we're going to protect ourselves, our hearts, we have to curb the feelings. We have to say, uh-oh, I'm not only feeling I'll get even or I'll show them, I'm getting spun up about it. I'm getting spun up about this. And they've gone on. They're doing their own thing now. They made you mad. They hurt your feelings. They did something so stupid, and a good way to show them is an action of revenge. You can have the thoughts of revenge, but you have to stop it at the feelings. And I like to say to set a good example for others, but it isn't about setting a good example for children. It could be, but it is setting a good example for yourself. How will I react the next time? Well, let's
Hmm.
take that whole feeling of revenge and give it a name. Let's give it a name, like you probably know where I'm going with this, but
Yeah.
so that we're not using the word revenge every time. Uh, and I don't want to offer, so I've got some names in my head that are coming up. But how
Lava.
could you give that a name?
Lava.
Oh, well, that wasn't one I came up with. Oh my gosh. And what does that name mean to you? Lava.
Well, it's the it comes bubbling up out of a volcano where it's
Uh-huh.
just been sitting and bubbling and dwelling and won't go away and burning, fighting its way to the surface, and then finally, aha, changing the countryside of it. They'll see, and it just, you know, levels the landscape and destroys everything in its path, and then cools off into some crusty, dark, cold, carbony nothing. We can't grow anything until the forces of nature just erode it into little pieces and it rejoins
Millennia
the
later.
soil. And,
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
volcanic ash can be used in other things, but not by itself. It can, pieces and parts can go rejoin nature. But until that happens, you just got that great big old blob of lava that has, burnt its way and then cooled off and then neglected, and it's cold and sterile
Hmm.
and destroyed all the life in its path. And then just sitting there like a testimony of, well, that just happened.
Hmm.
How did you let that happen? And
I have a feeling you're going to use lava as a
yeah,
metaphor for this long beyond this session, because that was a great description of it spewing out and creeping along, and it's still there. It's creeping along, uh, but it won't be good, useful land surface for a very long time. So
yeah,
yeah, I
it
really
leaves
like,
scars.
and yeah, and actually leaving a scar. Yeah, we've said that now too. So I know you did some deep soul work, deep soul working to identify these 8 imbalances. But how long did you think that you have embraced? Oh, okay. Look at that. Oh, lava. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
the little empty meditation bowl sitting on a volcano is where that I was, where I've been doodling this around, and then the name came right to me.
wow. It sure did. It
Yeah.
sure did. Now, do you recognize revenge in your childhood or in your earlier years, or is this
Oh yeah.
something that just cropped up
Yeah, I
recently?
mean, there have been plenty of times when I've been on the receiving end of bullying, and bullying never kind of broke me down into fearful. It kind of broke me into patiently waiting to get even and get back and square things up, and get back to zero line and just, and never forget an insult or a threat or an attack um, that was unjustified, aggressive. It's not right. Not going to tolerate that. And maybe I can't act on it now, but there will come a moment and a time for payback. And, you know, it becomes a self-imposed obligation to get even.
Mhm.
And a lot of cases like that in my life. And, I was always a small kid, smart, the new kid, and easy to bully for that reason,
Mhm.
and couldn't always avoid it. Couldn't always talk my way out of it. Sometimes it just got to the point where, okay, so it's going to be bullying, is it? Okay, well, let's see. And not being able to let go of that and taking it personally. And yeah, that desire to get back at them, to correct an injustice in that sense, personally, like not reporting them to the teacher or the principal or whatever. Just no, I'll take care of it.
Mhm.
So there's an element of tit for tat, eye for an eye,
Mhm.
Old Testament stuff there.
So would you say you learned that as a coping skill very young, that you felt like you had to do that to survive because you didn't
Yeah, I
want to
mean,
go to the teacher every time?
yeah, it
And
was like
that,
if you don't take care of it, it's going to keep coming back, and so you got to fight your way out of that hole. Sometimes it feels like is where that comes from,
mm,
and then sometimes it feels better than it should, that it wasn't enough just to get even and to square things up. Sometimes to learn to take more enjoyment in that than I should. It never turned me into a bully, I hope. I don't think I ever did. But yeah, there have been, times when I was the bigger, the smarter person or had power, and sometimes and would bully other. Not as bad as I ever got it, but it was I could see that tendency in me to go over the line or to initiate. I got to be careful of that in coaching, with kids that are whatever not behaving the way I want them to behave in on the soccer field. And I got to, you know, make sure I'm not taking it personally and that I'm being constructive in the way I modify their behavior. Um, and I notice it, when there's some kids who get under my skin and I find myself judging them, and I got to learn to let that go and say, hey, just work with the good kid inside him and and be the adult. There's that can be frustrating when you're working with kids of a certain age.
mhm. Hmm. Well, then you know very well. I was just thinking you don't have little children, but you were always setting an example for others.
Yeah.
If we take the cart back at the grocery store and other things like that, but setting a good example for yourself and setting a pattern of making sure that we know how to handle the trauma and stress
Mhm.
that's caused by others. And bullying is a very good example of that. Um, but bullying, while the bully has moved on and bullying someone else who is susceptible to being bullied, then you may be left with the physical tension of physical stress and physical anxiety and physical pain. Uh, Even though you have those feelings of wanting to get even,
Mhm.
have you felt that in your body? Have you allowed that to?
Yeah, when if it hasn't let go and it's just it can't stop thinking about it and plotting different ways to get back and uh it just they've already moved on. They have forgotten about it altogether, but I haven't. So I'm
Mhm,
still trapping myself in those feelings because
mhm.
being not being able to let go of it or whatever. But that there's an issue with that.
Mhm.
That's important.
And when I speak about me time, which is our most exceptional time, me time,
Yeah.
I talk about meditation being clear in your mind, just clear your mind as best as possible. And then a thought is going to come in that says, oh, I need to change the oil in that car. Just send it, it comes in one ear or one side of your brain, and just send it on out the other, because right now I don't want any clutter in my head. But also in your me time, you can do the not the meditation, but the contemplation
Mhm.
of, today that person said that, and that made me so mad. You know what? I just realized I experienced that today. I did experience that. And in my mind, I said, if she says anything like that today, I'm going to be ready for her. Now, that's as far as it went. And actually, she didn't say anything like that. But I'm the one who experienced the stress about it. She's long forgot that she said that last time,
Mhm.
and maybe didn't even mean it the way I took it. But I was ready for her this time. I was like, if she says anything like that, ah, sorry, I just learned something about myself.
Mhm.
However, releasing the stress of those thoughts, I mean, it helps our physical body, because your physical stress is compounding the way the organs work and the way we have a
Mhm.
flow in our body. And so I think you have said that you have been, well, I've got shaking with anger written down, and, absorbed in it. So yeah,
Mhm.
it is something for understanding that they have moved on, and we're drinking the poison hoping we're killing someone else. But the better way is to spend some time in contemplation. And
Mhm.
I had contemplation of how I was going to strike back at her. But now, and then consequently, she showed me her good side today, and I didn't have to use the anger that I had building up. Learned
Mhm.
something today. Hmm. So I had some limiting beliefs, I guess, that that's how she is. She just says things like that to make me mad or to hurt my feelings. Um, and I didn't have to suppress anything. I just had to lie in wait, and it didn't even happen. So,
Mhm.
but because of the nature of how I work, and I don't even go outside every day. I mean, I can go outside, but I'm not around the public every day. So that was big. That was really big for me. And apparently I've been letting that boil for 2 weeks, because she said it 2 weeks ago. I know. I'm ready. If she says it today, I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I'm ready for her today. Um, so let's go to, um, if you heard that somebody wanted to say, I'll get even, I'll make them suffer, I'll show them, um, what type of characteristics does that person have?
Well, they're feeling uh, they've been unjustifiably, assaulted or wronged or harmed. They're letting it into their identity. They're organizing their life around it. They're focused on it to the exclusion of other things. They are simplifying their life. It's becoming black and white. It's uh, agitated, sharp edged, losing sight of the bigger picture, being reactive instead of active, losing choice.
Oh, losing choice. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
Because that striking out can become a habit.
Yeah,
And
it cuts a
starting,
groove, it wears a groove in you, and then it becomes the easier lower level to just go to. It catches things in it and it gets stuck in that groove.
some of these challenging and deep-seated reactions that we have require us to have more courage to face our fears and to face our uncertainties. And apparently, Aristotle viewed courage as the mean between recklessness and cowardice, enabling individuals to face difficulties appropriately. So I think what we're saying here, if we go back to thoughts, feelings, and actions, is that the thoughts in themselves are going to come, but the feelings are bad for us. The emotions, when they get to shaking with anger and then taking the actions, even if I would have smarted off to that woman today, she'll go home to her family and maybe not think a thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or she might think, oh, one of my clients was rude to me today. But it's not going to, she's most likely she is not going to dwell on it for 2 weeks like I did. And so it's over now. For me, that is over. And she showed that she doesn't have to be that way or treat me that way. So yeah, courage is the mean between recklessness and cowardice. What does that mean to you? The mean between recklessness and cowardice. Do you believe that to be true?
Yeah, cowardice, I think, is that desire to act, but withholding it because of fear of those consequences. Um, Recklessness is the rejection of thinking about consequences and acting impulsively. So one is overthinking it, overimagining it. Recklessness is the pure knee jerk intuitive id that's making the action. So there's some balanced judgment in there in which the thoughts can now start shaping our choices with the energy that comes from the emotions, but it passes the control and the decision for action to thoughts and rationality and identity and acting instead of reacting. So it's a preferred place of
Mm-hmm.
balance. Yeah.
Because lashing out without a plan can very definitely be recklessness.
Yeah.
You can end up ruining the relationship or the friendship or taking it farther than it even needed to be taking.
Or breaking something else in some other unrelated field because you're not paying attention. And now you've created the next thing that needs to be fixed or resolved because of thoughtless action.
And then revenge with a plan is not good either because we've spent our time.
That's an even more deliberate choice to act out from our not our better nature. And then to bring the other assets to bear to reinforce a bad choice. That's even
Thing
worse.
about that. So I have caused myself the anxiety and stress of a situation that, as we look at this, curbing our desire for revenge can only help us physically and emotionally as well as spiritually. Um, I'm going to ask you, and you don't have to answer it now, but maybe by the end, I'm going to ask you what trigger is there a word or is there a phrase or something that can trigger you that can be your immediate calm down into they've already said it, you know, they're not going to come and take it back.
Mm.
And they said it in front of people. I can't take that back. So my first reaction is to get even and to make them suffer. I'll show them. I'll show them that I'm in charge. But if there, and if you can think of a trigger word or phrase, or
Yep.
even an image, like you're going to draw an image that you're going to remember that when you go that far, that you're ready to take action.
Yep.
Um,
Got it. Chill. Big red button or blue button. Chill. And just convert all that energy into storage and go forward.
so
Instantly just
chill button.
instantly just release all that other stuff and all those plans and just bundle up all that and pay it forward to the next thing that needs energy. Just say, chill. You're not that important. It's not that big a deal. Let it go. Live your life forward. Chill and just go.
Yeah, I
Simple.
like let it go. And that whole idea of bundling up the energy that would have taken to put your plan in place to get the revenge,
Oh,
but
yeah.
to just pay it forward to some more beneficial activity or action.
Yeah. Something that has multiple layers of payoffs that's unresourced right now because I'm busy screwing around with this thing. So just chill, pay it forward, handle it there, you know, live better, put it to use.
Mm-hmm.
Don't waste it. Don't waste the hate.
Well, I can agree with that. I can agree with
Don't
that.
waste hate on revenge. Convert it to positive energy.
Absolutely. I might have to steal the blue chill button so that I
Yeah,
can
that's
use.
what the on that volcano, the bowl is now a great big button. I've smoothed out the volcano, and it's a big blue chill button. Anyway,
Okay, there you go,
I'll
right in front
shoot
of your
you.
face.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. I really like that. Okay. Well, you know what little wow moments are. Um, so related to this whole topic of revenge, can you think of any little wow moments that you had about revenge or even that you're having now that you want to bring up? These little
Well, I
wow
just
moments.
think the whole volcano model and integrating it into the bowl and then making that bowl a button and pushing it into the volcano with chill blue water and just let the rising steam take all the sting out of the lava. Just keep it down there. Just let all the energy come out through steam and put that steam to use.
Wow. Wow, what a visual. What a visual for that. Wow. So again, one step ahead, you're driving the ambition of using the what could turn into negative energy. You're driving it to pursue meaningful goals without veering into over ambition or complacency.
Yep.
So the proper ambition. Oh, I love that.
Just reroute it. Just put the lock on the door, reroute it, put that energy to let it flow, but keep the lava underground and let it go bring heat and light and steam energy to where it's needed instead of erupting and acting the fool. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm thinking that you will elaborate on this lava story. Now, the fact that the bowl now is at the top, did you say it's got clear blue water in it?
Yep. And it's got chilled water. And when I push that down into the volcano, that chill water turns the lava to steam, and that steam is put to work. Chill.
Wow.
And that chill water comes from an infinitely deep blue ocean of reflection and serenity, much bigger than any volcano. There's an infinite source of that water that can flow into the bowl and let the bowl carry that down to the lava, turn it into steam, put the steam to work. Easy. So it's a
Oh,
volcano on the edge of the sea.
uh-huh. Well, I don't know if you have this book handy or if you own this book, but after our session, you can look up some patterns from Dr. Emoto. Am I saying that right? Dr. Emoto's water
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
patterns. Look
Yep.
up some of those, and then you can visualize those on the surface of the blue water. I mean,
Yeah,
you
Tom,
can,
make sure talk to Tom Lemke on that one. He's very fond of
oh,
that
okay.
author, and there will be a collaboration between you two on that one, I think, as well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah, because that's what I'm seeing, those crystallized patterns. And one of the things that I did in person, I mean, someone else did it while I was there in person, is had we'll just say for visualization's sake, like a tambourine
Yeah.
full of sand, but it wasn't a tambourine. I should have said a pie plate, a big, big pie plate full of sand. And then they did some drumming, and so they drummed, pace, 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 pace,
Mhm.
pace, pace, pace. And the sand vibrated, well, shoot, into a beautiful design, just like a
Mm,
snowflake, a beautiful design. And I think we were all supposed to think of joyful and loving thoughts.
mm,
And then when they took the drum and just beat the drum, and out of sequence and just changing it all up, and we were supposed to think of more harmful thoughts. The water, I mean, the sand did not make a beautiful pattern and
mhm,
just shifted around. So, yeah, that is what image came to my mind.
mm,
Mm. Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways that you can take this, and just visualizing that lava volcano and then the water and the steam, there is a lot of positive that can come out of that. Um, hmm. Do you have any different thinking about revenge right now?
Well, it's like putting down a heavy weight
Mhm.
and being free to move about the cabin, you know, without
Mhm.
carrying that weight, a sense of lightness and energy
Mhm.
and recovery.
Mhm. Well, I think the fact that you draw it out would even further help you
Hmm.
develop a new story around revenge.
Hmm.
And that's what we're going for here, so that you don't catch the trauma and stress in your own body and your own mind and your own emotions. Um, and that you have that as a trigger. And I mean, I'm just barely seeing the picture, but having drawn it, you really have a good um, positive.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a heck of a flashcard.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. This is
Yeah.
uh, really got a lot to it. Let's see. I don't want to skip this. Well, I don't think we've swung to extremes, but redefining one's narrative requires moderation,
Hmm.
to integrate new perspectives without swinging into extremes. So let me just describe this that in a different way. That when you have a massage, like at a spa, or when you have a lymph massage, most likely you will come out of there just feeling so good, so good. And the pendulum has swung way to the left. So it's not surprising that the pendulum could swing way to the right or the other way in a deep way before it becomes normal again and before that pendulum just swings. So, what was coming to my mind that I've been cautioned to make sure that you didn't go to extremes, but I don't think you did. But it would not be unlikely for you tomorrow or the next day to have just awkward emotions. It's like, oh, we did such deep work, and now I'm going to the other side. And it is likely that massage therapists or other coaches and things could call you 3 days later and see how you feel. You
Mhm.
felt so great when you left my office, but you had a little bit of a letdown as you got back to normal. So do you think that your new normal could include wanting to uh, reduce the heat from the lava? And
Yeah, I'm picturing this as as a landscape. So what I essentially sketched here was a really close in look at the mouth of the volcano and the blue bowl and all that other stuff and then I realized I was drawing that chill water from a lagoon connected to that deep ocean. And so now as the pendulum swings back, what I got is just expand the size and scope of that landscape. And so the volcano itself is reducing in size and becoming just one more object in the distance. And there's a much wider landscape of things to contend with and to enjoy and to attend to. And there's farmlands and forests and cities and towns
wow,
and open. So it's less of that inwards, over focus on that one little thing that now that we've resolved that, it's easier to see the wider tapestry and just relax and let the see the bigger picture.
do you think you could actually do that?
Oh yeah, already doing it.
Um, because this seems like such a big one, and as you said, you moved from school to school, and you were
Yeah.
smart.
Well,
You didn't
well,
have.
here's the thing. This is really part of a map. I know where to take the revenge now to process it. So that's the place where I take it to and go through that procedure and flush the system.
Like that.
So I can be working over here. Something happens. I feel that first onset of wanting revenge. I say, up, throw it over towards the volcano, let them put it in a stack. When they get to it, they'll feed the volcano with that. They'll handle it. So I don't have to dwell. I can intercept that at the moment the trigger happens
Mhm.
instead of letting that thing become its own another volcano. I can just send it to the volcano, process it at the plant, move on, get back to work, you know.
Well, that is, I mean, I'm seeing that visualization of the cool water in the bowl can stop that lava flow,
Yeah.
and then the cool water in the bowl creates the steam that gives you steam to the
Do work
energy,
to
right,
do
to move
work.
on to something even better. Oh my gosh. Hmm.
Yeah, we're
Let's
going to put
see.
that steam to work in a steam engine.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm seeing here about focusing your attention to enhance emotional regulation and promote overall well-being.
Yeah.
And we talked about well-being quite a bit, in the
Yeah, I
past.
mean, we're placing the volcano, which is the thing, and the heat, the energy, and the lava. Those are all real things, but they have a time and a place and a location and a purpose, and it's not more than what it is. It just is
Mhm.
exactly what it is. So not a thing to dwell on. It's just a thing to account for and to use as part of the larger. landscape and tapestry.
Well, you have really built a great image, a great trigger, a whole process for cooling your jets
Mhm.
when these kind of things happen. Um, do you have the support network of someone at work or someone at home that you can share this with? Or
Mhm.
maybe it's me, maybe we can
Well,
talk.
when I publish this to all my coaching clients and friends, and I'll just say, "Hey, here's the work that I did. Keep me accountable.
Mm,
Use it if it helps." By publishing it, I make the whole world my support network.
it's out there, right?
Yeah, it's
So
like, hey,
Aristotle valued the role of community and relationships
yeah,
in achieving a good life, emphasizing the importance of building supportive networks. But like you said, you're just putting it out there, and
yep,
your accountability partners are everybody that knows about this.
yep.
So anyone could help you be accountable about that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's where we're going on all of these imbalances, is to cultivate a balanced personal character
Hmm.
and being aware of personal growth and well-being, um, through the golden mean in your transformational journey. Whew,
Hmm.
I'm seeing some good stuff here. Let's see. Got a couple of quotes here. Trauma doesn't need to be confronted with force, it responds to presence. Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, it's putting things in the right place in time and space and perspective, not ignoring it, not overdwelling it, just right sizing it and accounting for it, helping it find its own spot in the tapestry
Mm-hmm.
and moving on. Just, okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
what it was. And the trauma is the memory of not having processed the pain or the whatever it was, of leaving it open and not attending to it. And so um,
But
it
portray
just
a
becomes a
calm
scar.
presence. Oops.
Yeah, it just becomes a scar. Leaves a
Mm-hmm.
mark, but it you take the pain of it away,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't inhibit movement and work and energy. It just is. It's a visual reminder, but it's lost the power to to inflict more pain and distort because it solved the underlying problem.
Very true. Very true. I see another one here that says healing doesn't always speak in words, sometimes it hums.
Mm,
And we started out with how beneficial humming can be
mm,
to a calm presence. Um, yeah, having a calm presence.
mm,
All right, let's see here. We kind of went through a process here that you probably recognized as the storytelling model.
mm.
Naming something besides the word revenge.
Yeah,
I think you defined it, met it, took it whole on, came
reframed
up
it.
with, yeah, reframed it, right? Reframed it and developed your own trigger for visualizing that water. For me, I'm seeing those Dr. Emoto beautiful patterns,
Yeah.
and then and like snowflakes, and then meaning beautiful patterns,
I
and
think what
then
we'll do is I think we'll send this session over to Dr. Boji and get you some credit for Purview coaching and for your certification, and because that you applied that process to me going through this. So that's a case study of how to do it
Well, yes, I think so too, because I haven't had as much
with your
experience.
permission. With your permission.
Sure, sure. I was looking forward to doing it, and I hadn't thought, I haven't used it on anyone else, but
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of which one of our imbalances really, I mean, I think any of them could have used this
Yeah,
model.
but this one
And
was
I really
especially
liked,
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
I really liked using this model, but I can't compare with the fact that you sketch and draw during the sessions and come up with such metaphors for healing.
Well,
You know,
that's part of the embodiment and thinkment is the kinesthetic release. You know, I can hear the words, I can see the imagery, but there's a cathartic release for me by integrating the kinesthetic drawing and the feeling and the texture. You know, like I took this little piece of like tissue paper and then because I've been drawing with a big, thick, fat carbon carpenter's pencil.
carpenter's pencil.
Yeah, and so I've given kind of blending that into a real textured. You can see the little carbon where I've been smoothing that out into a nice um, impressionistic sketch painting of the bowl and the volcano that looks really good. So
Wow.
that for me is that sort of integrating and locking it in feeling of closing the door on that chapter, completing the thought into an artifact which contains the living memory of everything we just did and the whole image. And I can just look at that and say, oh yeah, that's how you do it. And that artifact now acts as a trigger for how to do this process and to invoke all that imagery. So
Mhm.
for me, that's, I think of that as artifact theory and practice. Why I believe strongly in, the sketching and doodling for me is key. Some people compose music, other people might write a story. For me, it's the sketch and the embodied meaning into the art as a way to release, and then bind that to the artifact, which then contains it.
And you know that works.
Yeah.
So you were able to be more advanced than someone else who was first maybe stumbling through. You
No.
know, we've worked with a variety of models
Yeah.
each time we've used a different model, but this one, I'm going to say this one really worked well for that particular imbalance
Yeah.
and for that lava that could overflow. um yeah, so as is my nature, I think we've already answered this, but as is my nature, has this been helpful for you, and
Oh,
was
very
it?
much, very much. I mean, this kind of crystallized into a process artifact because processes and steps can be artifacts. And so we've embodied the purview process in a living case study. And on the receiving end of that, um, gives me more confidence in the method when I'm facilitating that method because I've seen how it works to be on the receiving end of it.
Uh-huh.
And that's a reinforcement of the process. So that's
Yeah,
been
I
very
didn't
helpful.
start out with saying that was what we were following, but I'm sure after the first few questions, you could
That's where,
feel
yeah, that's where it ended up going.
that's
Yeah.
where we were going. That's where we were going with that. So yeah, again, it worked very well, and I always appreciate that you're willing to be open. You know, we said in the very beginning, if you have such emotional distress, you can go off camera, or um, really wondering how you can go deep. In fact, I used to always say have a box of tissues handy,
Hmm.
because if you're, bringing something up, some tears may happen, but you're just very open and willing to work on these imbalances. And you know that besides the healing that this is bringing, it's very likely to heal others. The ones that we share this with will get
Yeah,
some.
it's a way to here's a way to do it, and here's some supportive imagery for cool water and to help chill the volcano. And,
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, I feel like I love it. I feel like I'm complete. Do you feel
me
like
too.
you're complete? Is there anything else you want to say about the whole?
No, ma'am, I think we got it. I think we nailed it.
All right.
And I'll send you the link to the video and I'll get this posted. I think I have put the other sessions into our course that we're assembling that on Rizuku there for you. So at some point we'll start shaping that into more of a product. It's more of a collection right now. But we'll start shaping that raw material into product.
Sounds good.
All right, boss. I let's declare this session good and complete, and I'm gonna stop the recording there and
Okay.
look forward to our next session.